Well, hey there, friends and followers of Meyer Sign and Tales of the Magic Skagit. You know, I've mentioned in stories that I've written in the past that I consider Eby Prairie to be one of my spirit places. Every time I come here, it just inspires and renews me. And of course, the history is so rich. And you may recall, if you're a follower of the Tales of the Magic Skagit, that we did a story back, I want to say August of 2021, called Triumph and Tragedy on the Prairie. The Ebys of Coupeville. And I'm here with a couple of gentlemen who are doing a wonderful service. This is Howard on the left, Bob on the right. And they are here. We're actually in the house that was built by, help me out here, it was
Jacob Eby.
Jacob, and this is where Sarah lived as well. And they were kind of the patriarch and matriarch of the Eby family.
Right.
So what do you tell people about the significance of this place, Howard?
Well, this place is really the Ebys were the first permanent European settlers in this area. There'd been contact here for hundreds of years, so the Indians weren't all that shocked at all that sort of thing.
Right.
But Isaac came out here first, and he's from the Midwest, and he saw what the farmland was like here, and especially what the winters were like, and really fell in love with it. About that time came the Donation Land Claims Act of 1850, and he was able to claim 320 acres for himself.
Oh my goodness.
And 320 acres for his wife.
Oh my gosh.
640 acres, 1 square mile of that gorgeous, gorgeous bottom land down there, which is formerly lake bed.
Yeah.
So, and then he wrote off to his parents saying, "This is the most wonderful place in the world." Actually, his parents and his wife. And so his wife, parents, his brother, and a couple of cousins took a covered wagon trip out here.
Yes, they did.
And we've got interesting diary entries on that coming out here. And then when Jacob and Sarah arrived, they built this cabin and settled down to live.
Yeah. Now, as I recall, I think he famously described this as what, a paradise on earth or something.
Yeah, he had a
similar
lot
to
of
that in
flower,
letters
everything, but this was beyond anything he'd heard of. And that actually it's a sentiment that we hear from other accounts too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're into farming, and apparently they were, this is wonderful land.
It was.
Yeah, the rest of the island's mostly rocks.
And, you know, and of course, if you look back at, you go back hundreds of thousands or millions of years at geologically how this was formed, and you appreciate why the land is as rich as it is. But it was also fraught with some confrontation because the people who had been here originally also relied on this prairie for their sustenance as well, because I believe this is where they harvested camas root.
Camas and bracken fern. And by the time the Ebys got here, they had potatoes. They had actually potato patches.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
They must have picked that up from contact with Europeans, or?
Yeah, it would be European. It would be Spanish,
right.
Portuguese, British.
And as we know, sadly, Jacob Eby's son, Isaac, came to a tragic end in a confrontation with Indians, but it wasn't, as I recall, local Indians.
It wasn't. It was a revenge killing.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac was a kind of a big shot collector of customs and commander in the armies. He'd been in the army as an officer. And they came down here looking for another Tyee. Actually, they came down here looking for Dr. George Kellogg.
That's right.
And they couldn't find him. He was out on a call.
Yeah. So
the field hand out there was asked, is this guy who lives here a Tyee? And yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so they came that night and actually shotgunned him.
Right.
And scared the house guests away. I guess it didn't hurt anybody else. Rebecca, Isaac's wife, ran away and never went back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that had to be exceedingly traumatic. Well, one last question. You ever encounter any ghosts out here?
I have not.
No, it'd be a tough place to live by yourself. I think.
Yeah.
One of
As a ghost, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, thanks so much. And thanks for what you do. And thanks for taking the time to connect people with this part of our Skagit Valley and Whidbey Island history.
Cool. Thanks for running the podcast to tell people.
Oh, you bet.
You're welcome.